Okay, we got a Uniden PC 76XL here. I had it disassembled to do some cleaning. This was a smoker on this before, so really nasty nicotine stink, and well, not really stink, but staining. Sorry if you're a smoker, but I'm not. So I grew up and around it. Once you get away from it, you don't do it for yourself. It's just ugh. So anyways, cleaned it up as best as I could, lubed the switches, deoxidated everything, and everything's working good. It's factory stock. All the switches, all the controls are factory stock. It does have the limiter out, which is one of these guys here. Where is it? Right here. I think that's the one right there. I have to double check, but I think that's it. And you know, when they clipped it, they didn't clip it, you know, pretend this is the black is the board. So let's say that, you know, it goes through the board here and here. They clipped it right at the freaking diode, so they basically snapped part of the diode off too. Like, why would you do that? I mean, think about somebody else who might want to work behind you and put it back. It's simple enough to take it out and put it in, but I'm just saying, like, why would people do these things? So anyways, I got the knobs all cleaned. I soaked them in a Dawn dish soap, so they're all nice and shiny and clean. And this is as clean as I could get it. Obviously it's seen better days, but you know, the radio works pretty good, so you could always get a decal sticker. I don't think I'm going to sell it, but I just wanted to show kind of where we're at with it right now as far as how it's looking. So let me line this stuff up just a little bit here, and then I'll come back and show it. Okay, so we're keyed up on AM. Well, it's only AM on this one, so 36.2, 36.2. So we know that we're good on what we're looking at, and so we know that the limiter is clipped out of this. I've already removed it completely, so it's just two empty spots on the circuit board. Pretty easy to put back in. But so here's our carrier, here's our modulation. 1, 2, 3. Hello. If you really get into it, you can kind of hear that distortion sound through the radio. It's almost like a generic talkback in a way. Hello, hello. And you can see it's weird because the lower sideband is stronger than the upper sideband, which is kind of weird. But hello, dead key about 4 watts or so, and you know, it's peaking up there. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At times I can see this thing doing almost 30, but right now it's not doing as much. So hello radio. He's getting excited about it in the background. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's not good. I mean, it's super loud. If you like a loud radio with the limiter clip, then probably you would like it like this, but it has quite a bit of RMS. So let's see on the RMS. Hello, hello, hello. So quite a bit of RMS for what we should, you know, kind of want to see. It's 10, 11 sometimes. So definitely a very 1990-ish style radio. You know how people would do it: clip and snip, tweak and peak. But when we open it up and look inside, nothing really else has been adjusted, which is nice. So apparently the mailman's out there, and that's why he's not excited about the radio. He doesn't like anybody that drives a truck and comes up to the house sometimes. So you can see here the typical points where people would screw with is here, here. To my knowledge, and someone that is obviously more knowledgeable than me told me that this one never had a tuning slug in it, this L16. So I'm going to take their word for it. There's some cobweb of some sort, something. You know, these old radios, when they sit around in people's garages or wherever, basements, attics, I don't know, sometimes bugs like to live in them. So you ever get an old radio, you know, you buy it locally or something, sometimes it ain't a bad idea maybe to open it up outside before you bring it in, because you never know if those critters are still alive. And although this is a nice comfy home for them, you know, you introduce them to your home, you never know what you might bring in. Not that I've ever seen that, but I'm sure people could contest to that. So the limiter is here, you know, and it's already took it out. So this D11, this diode 11, oh, got some more crap on there. Yeah, whatever was living in there is long dead and gone. But so here and here we need to put that new part in and solder it down, and hopefully that'll give us a little bit more control on our modulation. I think one of these is for audio. I think it's VR5. I'll have to look it up. But I think there's probably other ones that people would clip and snip. But I didn't see anything in this one, so all in all, it's a pretty clean board. No mods, which is hard to find on an old radio like this. My friend's got a meter insert, I think he said he was going to send me, that's kind of like really yellow tinted, and I think it would look really cool with a little, maybe a little brighter bulb in there. I don't know. I'm going to leave the factory bulb and put that insert in there and kind of see how it looks, but I don't mind that look. I almost want to say that somebody did replace the bulb at one time, but I'm not really sure. But you know, you put a decal on this. I would probably go with black or something, a black decal. I saw Gamma Ray has a mossy oak looking one that I think is kind of cool too. So I don't know. Let's put it on the test equipment really quick though, and I'll show you guys what it looks like on the scope and spectrum analyzer with a tone. It's not very good. Okay, so we're keyed up right now. Mic gain's up all the way here. And we'll just put the tone in so we can see here. Here's the tone. So that's what it looks like. Just full on distortion with the limiter clip. So how far does that go out? I don't know. Let's span out some. So we're already producing positive power in the next channel. And that goes out quite a ways. So let's see if I can't say peak and turn continuous peak off. Whoop, don't want that. I want continuous peak off, and then that way I can adjust this over, and we can kind of see. $27,225. Next peak. Just have to do it manually. And so we're still producing like 2 dBm of power, almost at channel 20. I think that's actually 25 because of the weird changeover in the FCC band plan. But you can see, look how weird it is how it overshoots power this way farther than this way. It's really strange. And if we increase our resolution bandwidth some, then it doesn't look so pronounced, but you can still see it. So it gives you a better idea of how it's looking. It's definitely not good. And then I can kind of do this and it's easier to scroll along, but it's definitely not good. So anyways, put the limiter back in and kind of readjust it, and I think things should get quite a bit better. So if you lower the mic gain down like this, as with any radio with a clipped limiter, eventually you can start to get some semblance of a decent, but it's so like small of an amount, you would just adjust it. With the knob being not on the front, it doesn't give you a good, you know, how the radio should actually be, because it's hard to show it. But I have it like this is off completely, and then this is just barely, it's It's really hard to, there's barely cracked, so even just at that point there's no control at all. Yeah, so you can't even really, you have to be so like minute of a change, but yeah, well, yeah, so even when I adjust it right, it just kind of goes back, so even like that looks pretty bad. You can see already, look at all that distortion product that went away. So it's a major difference, you know. What you see on a power meter doesn't tell the whole story. And back in the glory days and when I was started in CB, this is a big thing that people did, you know, charge you whatever. I don't know what they charge for stuff, but sure, I'll peek and tune it. Just snip, snip, and here you go. Give me 30 bucks or whatever. I don't know. But it's definitely a bad situation. Even like that doesn't look that good, so let's get this back though where I want it. There we go. I like the 30 hertz resolution much better. So I'll get that limiter back in, then we'll take another peek. Okay, so the limiter's back in, and let's try it out now. So the mic gain's back up all the way. I have a feeling now it's probably still too much. Probably somebody turned it up all the way. Yeah, so at least it's limiting somewhat. And you can see now the, you know, our looking much better. So way less power being sent out where we don't want it. If I just slightly back that mic gain down a little bit, see how much nicer that looks there. Well, let's just see. 98% right there, so well within range, perfect range. So if we turn that up all the way, it's 101. A little bit of negative compression, distortion. It's negative compression down to nothing, so we don't want that. We don't want our carrier to compress. We want it to be nice and round, going up and down. So just a little slight adjustment, I think, on the AMC control inside, and we'll have a really nice performing radio. Now what I want to do with this radio is probably adjust the dead key down without putting a limiter, or I'm sorry, not a limiter, I already did that, variable power option in it, because I'm going to set it up to run like with a, probably like a 203 or something most likely, so I would want maybe like 2 watts maximum, and right now we're at 4. And we can see about 4, and our frequency is pretty good. There's an adjustment in there for that, but I mean, if we're only a little bit low, that's perfectly acceptable for a radio on AM. It doesn't have to be too picky about that. So I'm going to make the change, but yeah, it looks really nice. So much better. That's how it should look. Obviously I'm going to make it so that when I have my mic gain up all the way, it looks like that. Okay, so back on the 76. So I find that even with the limiter in, when we have our mic gain up all the way, get a little bit of negative clipping. So what we need to do is just lower the mic gain down a little bit, because if we have that up all the way, and it's VR4 is our modulation adjuster, you can make it much dirtier by just turning it up. I'd say that's not dirty enough though. So that's why they clip the limiter. But so even with it all the way clockwise at its lowest position, you still have to run your mic gain back just a little bit. So about like that, and then that's perfect. You know, you don't need maybe actually a little more like that. 98%. Looks really good. As far as lowering the power of the radio, I thought maybe L20. But what ends up happening when you lower L20 is you lose all your audio and also the drive of the radio. So they say in the Cobra 29 service manual to adjust to L14 for 4 watts. So I'm going to try to take L14 down to 2 watts and see what happens. So let's just take a look at the power of this radio now that we know we have it set up in a, you know, the way it kind of was designed. So it should be about 4 watts. 4 watts on the carrier, and then with you know, with peak envelope power, You know, it's not going to be up there in the big 20 numbers and stuff, is, you know, most guys would probably want to see. But, you know, at the same time, all that extra power is mostly just distortion anyways, bleed over effect. So you could say, well, man, you really detune that thing and whatnot, but it is what it is. You know, use an amplifier. If you know, if you want more power, don't hot rod the hell out of the radio. I've always kind of felt like this, you know. These have a really good sound, I think, just how they come. You can lower the carrier or put a variable power or something in here, like a TIP20, I think, or something was what they use. Something that you add that into this circuit. I think you take this out or something. It's been a long time. I actually had one of these that I did the variable power to back in the 90s. I don't remember the exact same, but sometimes people would use this as the heat sink for that regulator and stuff and all that, but I'm not going to do that to this one. I'm going to try the L14, which is here. We just have to get this gunky wax out, so I will be the one to remove the wax out, and we'll see what happens. I don't care about max power, as long as this thing, even if it does 2 watts swinging like 6 or 8, that's plenty to drive a 203. Okay, so I did some dental work on the radio. Used some dental picks I got there. Kind of scraped that wax out as best as I could without damaging the internal part. Because you have to be careful with these. These things are old and you don't want to crack this or break it. So you always, anytime you're adjusting these, you have to be careful. If you break one or something, then you could be SOL up a creek. So I've adjusted it to about 2 watts, and it's doing exactly what I thought it would do. So there's our 98%. Let me start that over. So I'm actually going to double scale it. That way we can see it a little bit better. Okay, that's good. So that looks pretty damn good. You can see that limiter crunches it down fine. So, and that's what the mic gain just touched off a little bit. If you turn it wide open, it still gives you a little bit of that distortion. So if you want a little bit of distortion, I guess you can have it, you know, by doing the mic gain all the way up. So, but you can see how much cleaner it is now, and that's a big difference, you know. Again, why let the radio just suffer all that abuse and beat the hell out of it when you can just set it up like this, and you could run a small amp with it if you want, and away you go. So obviously we could hook the amp up with it and probably adjust things accordingly, because it might change a little bit. The modulation level might need to be adjusted a little bit more, but for all intents and purposes, you could almost just disable the mic gain control at this point, you know, and then you'd never have to worry about it. I'm sure you could unhook it or something, and it would hopefully keep its setting in place. Or, you know, you could go the other way and do the variable power and swing mod and all that, but I just don't think the swing and variable power mod is going to give you the ability to still allow you to turn up like this. Maybe it does, I don't know, but I'm happy like this. So it's not going to blow someone away for power or anything like that now, but I think it's going to do exactly what I wanted it to do. So I don't know why it, when you first key up, there we go, I think it's picking up sound. So it's about 2 watts, and it swings to, I don't know, what was it swinging to, about 8 to 10, which is about perfect. So you really don't need any more than that to drive the little RM Italy job, and that's all you need. I mean, let that give you the 100 watts plus out if that's what you want, and it's pretty much good to go from there. So if you did turn the mic gain up all the way, which is here, not much of a change, but it's not the end of the world. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it is going to obviously give you a little bit of that negative on the on the carrier, which is bad. So actually it seems like it's doing less power like that. So there you go. But just touching it back just a little bit makes all the difference, I think, on this one. So nice radio. I'm going to let it warm up a little bit. I'm going to do the alignment to the frequency on it. I believe that it's this one. Let's see, I got the service manual pulled up. Which is here, Cobra 29, but same difference. There's your adjustments. I believe it's L24. Yeah. So they're telling you to go to 19 and look for 27185. So it doesn't really matter what frequency you use. Alright, well there you have it. There's the PC76XL with the limiter put back in. Not a real exciting radio, but definitely a good strong radio that was probably built in the early 90s, I'm assuming. And still working today with original caps in it, the whole 9 yards. So no reason to do any more to it except just make sure it's on frequency and put it in with the collection, I guess. All right, 73.